If you're over 60, there's one private habit that could be silently draining your strength and almost no doctor talks about it. I'm Dr. Evelyn Hart, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men rebuild energy, restore confidence, and feel fully alive again after retirement. And today, we need to talk about something most men hide in silence: how masturbation done the wrong way can slowly harm your prostate, your sleep, even your desire for real intimacy. It's not about shame. It's about understanding how your body has changed and how to care for it with wisdom. Because by the end of this video, you'll know the 4 most common mistakes men over 60 make in private and exactly how to avoid them. Have you ever wondered why you feel less connected lately? Let's take a closer look. Slowing down the body is one step, but recognizing that your old methods may now be working against you is where the real shift begins. Ernest, a 67-year-old retired construction worker, described it with quiet honesty. "I just want to feel something, so I push through." Decades of grit and resilience had shaped him into someone who fixed problems by applying pressure, even when that pressure was turned inward. Alone, late at night, he tried to reclaim a spark of intimacy, but the harder he chased it, the more disconnected he felt. He later confessed something that hit me deeply: he couldn't hold his granddaughter without feeling distant. "I don't know why," he said, "it's like I'm a robot now." Have you ever pushed yourself to feel something and ended up feeling even less? It's more common than most men care to admit. Because many of us still approach self-pleasure the way we did at 30: tight grip, fast strokes, rushing to climax. We don't pause to ask whether our bodies have changed. We just assume if we try hard enough, it'll work. But your body after 60 has its own wisdom, and that wisdom asks for something different. Blood flow is slower, nerve sensitivity shifts, testosterone doesn't rise on command. The signals of arousal don't surge, they simmer softly and subtly. And when we ignore those signals, when we force release before the body is ready, damage begins to build, not in a way we can see, but in ways we eventually feel. Some men experience lingering pelvic tension. Others feel irritation, dryness, or even a slight ache they can't quite place. What's happening under the surface are micro tears in the penile tissue, irritation of the urethra, and excessive pressure on the prostate. Unlike injury from overexerting a muscle, there's no bruising or obvious pain. But over time, these repeated strains can add up. One day it's just discomfort. The next, it's reduced sensation. The next, it's needing more and more effort for less and less response. And what begins as a physical issue quickly spirals into an emotional one. Men like Ernest begin to question their manhood. They feel frustration, embarrassment, even a sense of shame they can't name. Why isn't it working like it used to? They ask themselves, and then they push harder, trying to force what used to come naturally. But this pushing doesn't heal, it fractures. It separates us from our own bodies, and soon from our partners too. Here's what I tell my patients and what I'm telling you now: your body isn't broken. It's trying to speak to you differently, and when we stop forcing and start listening, something remarkable happens. Gentle touch, slower rhythm, and intention restore safety to the nervous system. They lower cortisol. They protect tissue health. They even help regulate hormone balance by reducing the stress response that many men unknowingly trigger every time they chase climax. In other words, slowing down isn't a sign of weakness, it's a powerful act of wisdom. And you don't have to lose pleasure in the process. In fact, many men rediscover deeper sensation, emotional satisfaction, and connection they thought was gone forever simply by changing their approach. Think of it this way. You wouldn't drive a classic car the same way you drove a pickup in your 20s. You treat it with care, attention, and respect. Your body deserves the same. So if any of this feels familiar, if you've quietly noticed the gap between effort and reward, between desire and response, I want you to know you're not alone. And I'd like to hear from you. If you felt this silent struggle, comment 1 below. If not, comment 0 and let me know what has helped you. Because for many men, this is where it begins, not with medication, not with shame, but with a simple shift. Treat your body like an ally, not a machine. But what if you're no longer rushing and it still doesn't feel the same? What if the real problem isn't just in your body, but in what your mind has been trained to crave? Learning to treat your body with care is essential, but what if the real disconnection starts in your mind long before your hands ever move? What happens when the only way you feel something is through a screen? Alan, a 70-year-old retired school principal, sat across from me one afternoon, his shoulders tense but his voice quiet. "I don't respond to touch anymore, only to videos," he said, eyes lowered. There was no bitterness in his voice, only confusion. Years ago, intimacy had been simple: a soft glance, a slow touch, the warm curve of his wife's hand in his. Now, even when she reaches for him, he feels nothing. But when he's alone in front of a screen, something lights up briefly, artificially, and then disappears again, leaving him feeling emptier than before. This isn't rare. I hear this same story from more and more men in their 60s and 70s. What they don't realize is that high-speed pornography changes the way the brain processes pleasure, especially as we age. In younger years, the brain can rebound more quickly from intense stimulation. But after 60, that dopamine system slows down. Dopamine, the chemical responsible for motivation and reward, no longer floods the brain as easily or clears out as quickly. So when the brain is repeatedly exposed to rapid-fire, high-intensity visual triggers, it becomes overstimulated. At first, it feels exciting, but over time, it begins to numb the natural pathways. What used to feel pleasurable starts to feel dull. Real-life intimacy, slower, softer, and more emotionally complex, can't compete with the fireworks on a screen, and so the brain starts ignoring the very things it once cherished. The warmth of a partner's breath, the weight of their hand on your chest, the soft unfolding of arousal in a shared moment. Alan described it best: "It's not that I don't want closeness, I just can't feel it anymore." That sentence stayed with me because this isn't just about sexual response, it's about emotional connection. Over time, relying solely on pornography doesn't just desensitize the body, it isolates the heart. Many men begin withdrawing from their partners, from conversations, from small affectionate gestures that used to mean everything. They may not even notice it at first, they just feel flat, distant, a little more impatient. A little less alive, and the damage is invisible but very real. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't about shame, it's about awareness. The goal isn't to demonize screens, it's to bring you back into relationship with your real, living, breathing self. You don't have to cut it out completely, but you can shift your source of stimulation. Start simple. Try recalling a memory that made you feel desired. Read something sensual, not explicit. Close your eyes and imagine not what you see, but what you feel. Let arousal arise from within, not just from the outside in. Listen to music that stirs something gentle in you. Breathe deeper. Let your body, not just your eyes, guide the experience. When men begin to reawaken these slower, more soulful forms of stimulation, something beautiful happens. They begin to feel again. Sometimes it's subtle, a tingle in the fingertips, a sudden warmth in the chest, a memory that feels alive instead of distant. And then slowly the real world starts to spark again. A touch becomes meaningful. A kiss lingers longer. Alan hadn't lost his desire, he just lost the way back to it. And for many men, that's not the end. It's the quietest kind of cry for help. And if you're watching this thinking, "That's exactly what I've been feeling," I want to invite you to share. Have you noticed your desires changing over time? Has real intimacy felt harder to access? Comment below. You're not alone, and your story might be the one that gives another man the courage to shift. But for some men, even when their mind is clear and the screen is off, the body still feels tired and the energy to connect is simply gone. Even when you step away from the screen and reconnect with your body more gently, there's still one question many men are afraid to ask. What if the very act of doing it too often is what's leaving you drained? You're not lazy. You're not depressed, you may just be overdrained. That's exactly what Malcolm, 71, wanted to understand when he walked into my office. Is it possible I'm doing it too much? He asked, almost in a whisper, like he wasn't sure if the question was silly or shameful. He wasn't looking for sympathy, he was searching for clarity. Malcolm had been feeling more tired than usual. His sleep wasn't restorative, and even his morning walks, which once gave him a sense of freedom, now felt like a chore. He'd ruled out his medications, his diet, even had his blood work checked. But still, something didn't feel right. He shared that he masturbated daily, sometimes twice, thinking it was a healthy way to relax, but it wasn't relaxing him. It was leaving him foggy, irritable, and strangely flat inside. The truth is, Malcolm's story is not uncommon. After 60, the rules of recovery change. Frequent climax, especially when driven by habit or boredom rather than real desire, can deplete hormonal reserves and place quiet but significant strain on the nervous system. Testosterone, which once rebounded quickly in younger years, now takes longer to replenish. Your nervous system, once agile, becomes more sensitive to stress and slower to restore balance. This doesn't mean you've done something wrong, it means your body is asking for a different rhythm. When we push beyond what our system can naturally support, we begin to notice subtle but persistent signs. Fatigue that doesn't lift after rest, a foggy mind that dulls our focus, a drop in motivation, a lack of spark, morning energy fades, emotional resilience thins. And yet, because these symptoms are so common, many men just assume it's aging. They never suspect that it might be their own well-intentioned habits quietly wearing them down. It's important to understand this isn't about shame or abstinence. It's about honoring energy as the finite resource it becomes after 60. That means learning when to give, when to receive, and when to simply pause. For some men, reducing frequency to once or twice a week makes an immediate difference. More clarity, more restful sleep, even more stable mood. Others explore forms of intimacy or stimulation that don't always lead to ejaculation, like sensual touch, breathing exercises, or simply learning to be with sensation without rushing toward a goal. Less can be more, especially when it's done with care. This shift isn't about giving something up. It's about giving yourself back what you may not even know you've been losing. One patient told me it felt like I'd been leaking energy without realizing it, and the moment I gave myself permission to slow down, everything shifted. He wasn't weaker, he was wiser. And with that wisdom came a new kind of strength, the kind that doesn't burn out but builds. So if you've ever felt more tired after release or noticed your emotional spark fading even when everything else in your life seems fine, you're not alone. Comment your experience below. Someone else may need to hear what you have to say, because real transformation doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing things differently. And now, we reach the most overlooked danger of all, one that hides in plain sight, small in size but immense in impact: your prostate. Understanding how your energy responds is powerful, but there's one area most men overlook entirely, even though it quietly shapes their comfort, sleep, and confidence day after day. He thought it was just aging until the discomfort became his new normal. David, a 68-year-old former truck mechanic, sat down across from me and shared something that had been bothering him for months. I feel a pressure. Like I'm never fully relieved. It wasn't pain exactly, just a sense of lingering tightness that made him uncomfortable during the day and kept him up at night. At first, he brushed it off. Maybe it was something he ate, maybe just getting older, but it didn't go away. And soon, the nightly urgency, the weak flow, and that heaviness deep in his lower abdomen began to wear on more than just his body. It started to affect his mood, his sense of control, even his willingness to leave the house for too long. What David didn't realize, and what many men don't, is that small habits around self-pleasure can slowly strain one of the most sensitive parts of a man's body, the prostate. As we age, this tiny gland becomes more vulnerable. It's responsible for key functions during climax, but it's also easily irritated. When men masturbate while slouched in a chair or curled awkwardly on the couch, they apply direct pressure to the perineum, the area just below the base of the penis where the prostate sits behind the pelvic floor. Repeating that position, especially while bearing down or tensing, compresses the prostate and pelvic muscles, limiting blood flow and increasing inflammation over time. Add to that the habit of not urinating after climax, which helps flush the urethra and reduce irritation, and it becomes a recipe for chronic, low-grade inflammation. Not the kind that brings you to the ER, but the kind that builds quietly, until one day you're going to the bathroom 4 times a night, wincing at the first stream, or feeling a dull ache in your lower belly that you can't explain. David told me I started to dread going to bed because every night I'd be woken up by my own body. And worse, I didn't dare tell my wife. This kind of discomfort doesn't just make sleep harder. It makes you second-guess your body, it introduces subtle tension into your day. And over time, that tension becomes fear that something's wrong, fear that this is just how it's going to be now. And that fear, like pressure on the prostate, builds in silence, But here's what I want you to know: a few small adjustments can make a profound difference. First, always urinate after climax. It's a simple but powerful act of aftercare that helps reset your urinary tract and calm the surrounding tissue. Second, pay attention to your posture. If you tend to masturbate in a seated or slouched position, shift. Sit upright or recline in a supported way. Use a pillow beneath your hips to take pressure off the perineum. Breathe deeply, stay relaxed. Think of it not as a task to rush through, but as a gentle moment of connection. And if you feel a sense of tension building, stop, don't push through, respect the feedback. These changes may sound small, but for men like David, they've meant everything. Within weeks of adjusting his habits, he noticed that nighttime urgency faded and that strange pelvic heaviness eased. He told me, "I didn't realize how much of my discomfort I was creating without knowing it." And that's the key. So many men assume they're just getting old, when in reality their body is asking for a little more care. You're not fragile, you're evolving. Respecting your prostate is respecting your manhood. And honoring that doesn't make you less of a man, it makes you a wiser one. So let me ask you, did you ever consider your position might matter this much? Let me know in the comments. You might be surprised how many others are realizing the same thing. Now that you know the 4 hidden mistakes that silently chip away at your strength, connection, and vitality, it's time we talk about what to do next. Now that we've looked closely at the 4 silent habits that may be shaping how you feel every single day, there's something more important than any single mistake: how you choose to move forward. No one talks about it, but now you know what your doctor didn't tell you. You know that your body hasn't betrayed you, it's been trying to speak to you. You're not broken. You're just being asked to listen more closely, more gently, more consistently. Each of the 4 mistakes we explored today isn't about failure, it's about disconnection. Forcing release when your body isn't ready is a betrayal of your natural rhythm. Relying on screens alone distances you from the touch, warmth, and connection you deserve. Doing it too often doesn't show strength, it quietly burns away your energy. And neglecting your prostate doesn't just create physical discomfort, it invites daily tension and fear. These are not moral issues, they are signals. They are invitations. What if your body is not failing, but evolving? What if, instead of pushing harder, you chose to honor the new rhythm your body is asking for? What if strength now looked like awareness, patience, and self-respect? You're not past your prime, you're entering your most powerful chapter, one that starts with awareness. A chapter where you don't fight your body, you work with it. Where you don't chase old versions of yourself but create a stronger, wiser one. If this message helped you feel seen or understood, share it with a friend. Comment what resonated most. And don't forget to subscribe, because your next chapter deserves a guide.